Everybody's working for the weekend, and man, oh man, it feels good to be back in action. Oh my goodness. How was your past weekend?
The past weekend was good. This weekend looks like it's gonna be good. This week sucked. It was very productive. It was very busy. Got a lot done. That was great. It hasn't stopped raining until today. And so, been some migraines here and there or whatever. So, it could have been a better week, but that's what happens. That's life, guys and gals. You got to get through it. And, yeah, man, I'm pumped, though. This is my favorite day. It doesn't matter. I'm skidding into this thing with all kinds of migraines throughout the week and a bunch of rain. But the sun is shining, the headache is gone, and it's my favorite day to dive into what we love most, bro. Film, television, movies, everything. Come on.
I'm so super excited about it because, you and I are such big cinephiles. There's such big announcements that have been coming out of Hollywood this week. And I mean, Paramount has just been taking over the press, okay? They had like a press conference that they were like, okay, come at us. They let the press unload all of their questions, and they answered the majority of them.
Yeah.
And of course, with the new regime coming in, Skydance and David Ellison, they have some exciting things to announce, and there's some rumors happening around the studio that may or may not include buyouts, particular mergers, and of course, partnerships with iconic writers and producers like Taylor Sheridan, or maybe even people who involved with Stranger Things. We'll dive deep into it. But man, oh man, it's a great week to be in love with the film industry. That is for sure. But like I said, all of that and more craziness on ITCAF Podcast is going to be later on the show. Now, let's get a little crazy. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Did y'all see that? What?
Let's just throw Scream 6 in there for like
it was good.
Movie. It was really good. The best of the franchise, in my opinion, since the first one.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness, we are here for episode 305 of ITCAF Podcast, and you guys know your host with the most, myself, Jay Logan Austin, and the one and only Dustin M. Bergman, aka The Mouth.
What's up? How's everybody doing?
Yeah, we're super excited, man. I mean, we gotta say, I was on record last week saying that I did not watch I watched new movies, but they weren't good movies. And now this week, I feel like I watched so much better movies. So I'm super happy and I'm super excited to talk about the entertainment industry. But man, oh man, before we dive into the show, of course, we got to take care of some business.
Yes.
Please be sure to leave a rating on this podcast. Comment below and tell us what you actually think about the show, because leaving a rating on the podcast actually helps more people who enjoy entertainment news, but especially those who are trying to break into the entertainment industry. Us here at Crazy Ant Media are here to lend a helping hand to anyone and everyone who has an interest in becoming the next big thing in Hollywood. So please be sure to spread the word of mouth. Not a viral disease, but just a nice recommendation of a great podcast. That's all we're asking for. So please be sure to do that. And of course, be sure to head over to our website as well, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can basically learn anything and everything about us. We have our social security numbers on there, routing numbers, account numbers, anything. If you want a little extra dough, head over to crazyantmedia.com, where you can also see some great freaking fashion designs that we have available in our shop. Like I said, you can see our projects, you can find our personal bios on there, a little bit of everything, man. If you want to know anything about us, just go to a website, www.crazyantmedia.com.
Yes.
But we teased it on social media, and man, oh man, the freaking eye has been at the top of the mountain just bragging. They have all of the bragging rights right now. They're the new kids in town, and they look cool as shit. Everybody wants to be their friend. All the girlfriend wants to be there, or all the girls want to be their girlfriend. All the guys want to be them. Man, oh man, David Ellison has taken over the world, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We're not kidding, guys. There was so much stuff revealed at his little meet and greet. It's just crazy. We're gonna go over all of it. What are you thinking? Let's attack this. Let's dive in. We'll go through all of it, and then we'll dive into discussion. We'll just get through it. We'll tell you what was said, what was announced, and then we're going to dive deep into our thoughts on it, what we think it means, what we think it doesn't mean, is it good, is it bad, etc. But let's give it in. Let's just start right now and just dive into it, right? So David Ellison, you guys heard, the new CEO of Paramount, and his top executives hosted a meet and greet with journalists on the storied Melrose lot this week to further discuss their plans for Paramount Pictures and the TV side of the aisle. Now, at the event, Ellison stated that one of their biggest priorities is restoring Paramount as the #1 destination for the most talented artists and filmmakers in the world, saying that great filmmakers make great movies. He also called Top Gun 3, the sequel to the, of course, $1.5 billion grosser Top Gun Maverick, a top priority at the studio. And he said that he would be in the Tom Cruise business as long as the A-list star with whom he made 10 films in Ellison's former life at Skydance wanted to tell stories with him. That's it. It sounds like Supernatural back in the day. As long as this guy wants to do it, I'm doing it. Ellison, who said he intends to make movies exclusively for theaters, now has full control over a number of film franchises that he's already worked on at Skydance. Remember, if you guys aren't familiar, Skydance had a partnership with Paramount under the old regime. So that's what we're talking about why this is so. Many of those have been dormant on the big screen for several years now because they just couldn't get them going again. What am I talking? Star Trek, G.I. Joe, Terminator, Transformers. There's a lot of it, guys. Some of them have had trouble finding their footing in recent years. So, co-film chief Josh Greenstein said that these franchises would also be a priority, noting that the company hopes to release, get this, 15 to 20 films a year. Yeah, you heard that right. 15 to 20 films a year. That's bonkers nowadays, you guys. But that's not it. That's not the only big thing. What, right? What else? We got so much.
So much happening. Like you said, oh my goodness, there is some talks and advanced negotiations with the Duffer Brothers. Of course, the creators of the Netflix juggernaut Stranger Things, to create film and television with an emphasis on tentpole movies at Paramount.
What?
Now, this move would reunite the Duffer Brothers with Sydney Holland. Now, this is Paramount's new head of streaming, who greenlit Stranger Things at Netflix. Now, the pair would also work with Josh Greenstein, who Dustin just mentioned, and Dana Goldberg, who share film and series creative duties. Now, Holland, speaking publicly for the first time with her about her intentions, didn't mince any words when later backing up Ellison's focus on making films for theatrical versus making films for the small screen. Since they have different roles, she said, quote, streaming movies are not a priority for me. So they are definitely still moving towards the tent pole, still moving towards the theaters. Very freaking exciting. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about her, Cindy Holland, a little bit later. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. So we've got it clear. Ellison says, I'm only making movies for theaters. The head of his new streaming and the head of Paramount Plus has made it clear, yeah, I don't want movies. I'm not interested in making movies for my streamer. Okay, well, if the movies are only going to theaters and your streaming chief doesn't want movies on the streamer, what do you fill it with? Well, on the Paramount Plus side, Ellison acknowledged the uber importance of, and everybody saw this coming, Yellowstone creator Taylor Sheridan for the health of the streaming service, saying, quote, he's literally a singular genius with a perfect track record. If we can make this his home as long as he wants to tell stories, that sounds like he said about Tom Cruise. As long as Taylor wants to tell stories, we want to do that. Now, how serious is he about that? Well, Sheridan's SGS Studios and Paramount Television have partnered together with Hillwood to open, get this guys, a 450,000 square foot filming hub in a bid to lure the large-scale productions to the state. Now, the development marks what's believed to be the largest operating studio facility in the state of Texas, amplifying increasingly intentional battle to host Hollywood projects. Now, the campus contains, get this, 6 sound stages and can simultaneously accommodate 4 large-scale productions. God, that must be huge, man. The plan is for it to be the home of shows in the Sheridan-verse, including Landman, Lioness, and the Madison. Now, the venture comes, of course, after Texas bolstered an incentive program for movies and TV shows that positions the southern block of states as the premier destination for productions across entertainment and media chasing subsidies. We're going to dive into that one too, because that is huge. Huge.
It is. And I mean, speaking of Landman, Billy Bob Thornton is returning as West Texas' favorite oil fixer in season 2 of Landman, debuting on Paramount Plus on November 16th. Now, Landman was renewed for a second season in March after becoming one of the most watched original series on television and the #1 original series ever on Paramount Plus. Now, the series follows, of course, Tommy Norris, a petroleum landman and mid-level executive at a Texas oil company. Now, amid an unprecedented boom, he must navigate volatile oil field politics, nasty negotiations, and the violent criminals threatening his work and his family life. Now, Thornton stars alongside Allie Larder, who plays Tommy's ex-wife, and Jacob Laughlin, and, of course, Michelle Randolph, who plays Tommy's children. Cooper and Ainsley, who are great characters, great casting, love their storylines. Rounding out the cast, of course, are Andy Garcia, Paula Chavez, Kayla Wallace, Mark Coley, James Jordan, Demi Moore, and John Hamm. And joining in season 2, another country badass, brings America a manly man name. We're talking about Sam Elliott is coming on Landman for season 2.
That's right. Because if Billy Bob Thornton isn't man enough to take down Andy Garcia alone, who do you bring in? Sam Elliott. That's what you do. That's a great move. Okay, so we've got movies. We've got streaming and television shows. We know where that's all going, right? Well, that ain't it. What are we missing? Let me tell you. Ellison, of course, on the heels of winning a huge bidding war, High Side, which is the film reteaming a Complete Unknown's James Mangold and Timothée Chalamet, has pinned another major new deal for the media company that he just took over. So, day 1, that big deal. Day 2, are you ready? Apparently, Paramount Skydance announced a 7-year media rights agreement with TKO Group, under which Paramount Plus will become the exclusive home of all UFC events in the United States, pulling the mixed martial arts events away from ESPN. Now, Paramount will exclusively distribute UFC's full slate of 13 annual marquee numbered events and 30 fight nights via the Paramount Plus streaming platform. Select numbered of UFC events will be simulcast on CBS also, according to the companies. Now, as part of the agreement, UFC and Paramount will move away from this is where the risk comes in, and we're going to talk about this. But they're going to move away from the UFC's existing pay-per-view model, and instead, the events will be available at no additional cost to Paramount Plus's U.S. subscribers. Now, the 7-year term, which begins next year, has an average annual value of $1.1 billion, with an overall value of $7.7 billion over the lifespan of the deal. So, wow.
Ooh, boy.
Is that good? Is it bad? We're going to dive.
Right,
don't worry.
Exactly. Many Buffalo Wild Wing franchises might be going out of business. Oh, man. But Paramount Pictures, it's not all good. Okay, it's not all good. I mean, this is not really bad, but it's not really good. No. So take it with what you will. They have delayed the release of The Running Man. Now, if that sounds familiar, it is the one with Glenn Powell, of course. This generation's Tom Cruise. But get this, it's only by a week, okay? It's moving to November 14th, and it was previously scheduled for November 7th. So it's not that big of a deal. And of course, in this Edgar Wright's remake, as the lead sci-fi action film. It does star Glenn Powell, Coleman Domingo's in this bad boy, Michael Cera. Now, it's based on the 1982 novel by Stephen King, The Running Man. Yeah, that's Stephen King. And it takes place in a dystopian society where contestants on a game show called Runners are pit against murderous killers, or hunters, better known as.
Mm-hmm.
No word yet for the reason for the delay, but like I said, it's just a week, so I'm sure it's something very, very minimal. So excited about that still.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, you know what else we're excited about? The surge, the return over the last 8 or 10 years, thanks to Jason Blum. I'm just going to say it. It's thanks to Jason Blum, of the horror movie. It's making a nice resurgence. It's doing really well. We're seeing a lot more in the theaters. They're making money. They seem to be profitable. So we don't think they're going anywhere. Well, what are we missing if horror movies are back and they're doing really well? The horror movie that makes fun of those horror movies. Well, guess what? Paramount announced that that's coming back too. Yep, Anna Faris and Regina Hall are scaring up a reunion. The stars will return as Cindy and Brenda for the next installment of Scary Movies franchise. Now, Marlon Wayans confirmed the news in a post on his Instagram, sharing a photo of the duo from the first film. Now, the reboot from the Wayans brothers is coming to theaters on June 12th of 2026. The brothers are reuniting, get this, for the first time in 18 years to write an original script for the restart of the parody franchise, writing and producing the movie alongside Rick Alvarez. Now, Scary Movie, if you were living under a rock and don't know, came out in 2000 and was one of the highest grossing R-rated horror movies of all time. The film opened up to $42.5 million at the box office, marking the biggest debut for an R-rated horror movie and a black director of all time. The Scary Movie film franchise was developed by Marlon Wayans, Shawn Wayans, and Keenan Ivory Wayans. And as I said, it's a parody. It makes fun of all the horror movies, and it's fantastic. I'm excited about that. I think we've been missing a little. We talk about it. We've been missing a little bit of comedy. We've been missing a little bit of. So this is good. It's good.
Completely agree. And I mean, with the quote unquote success of The Naked Gun that Paramount just released, so I'm sure they felt a little bit more confident going back to this established IP
Without
as well
doubt.
to try to go back to the well. So all of this in the film and television industry, fans are excited, right? And I mean, what about Wall Street? Wall Street, what's the bottom line? Are we in the red? Are we in the black? Well, investors are all over this new company, better known as Paramount, a Skydance corporation. The answer would appear yes, they are very excited. Paramount Skydance, over its first full week on the stock market under the new owners, saw its stock jump up about 30% and boomed as much as 60% in an intraday trading Wednesday. Now,
Yep.
on August 12th through the 13th, Paramount Skydance share soared 48%, the biggest two-day gain ever for the stock, dating back to its predecessor company, Viacom's IPO in 1990. Now, per Dow Jones market data, of course. Now, over the following 2 days, Paramount Skydance shares settled back down, closing Friday at $13.72 per share. Now, the surge in Paramount Skydance shares look to be similar to the massive pop seen by meme stocks, in which individual retail investors rally around buying up certain stocks, where Paramount Skydance shares began trading on NASDAQ under the symbol PSKY on August 7th. Now, after the, of course, $8 billion, that's with a B, dollar deal was officially closed.
Yep.
So, man, oh man, that is a lot to unpack there.
That
David
is.
Ellison definitely came into the entertainment industry, or I should say came into Paramount, because he's been in the entertainment industry for 20 plus years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But came into Paramount guns blazing, ready to go. And he is very well trained and versed with the press as well.
Without doubt.
I mean, he's been popping up everywhere on news publications, news outlets, like I said. And like you said, he's had this press field day over at the Paramount lot where he just let the press have at it. You know, say whatever you want, ask whatever you want. And he handled it very freaking well. But man, oh man, talk about craziness. I mean, the past week and a half, they've been killing it, I must
Oh,
say.
without doubt. And for anybody wondering, after hours, it's up $13.81. So it's increasing after
Yeah.
hours. So there you go. The excitement's still there. Yeah, I talked about this a little bit last week. I said, would it be a good thing or a bad thing? And I said I thought it would maybe be a good thing if they can keep politics out of it, right? That's what I said last week. And after all this was announced this week, and I've been like trying to keep up with it all. My assessment, I wrote down some notes, and my assessment is, I think in the short term, the moves look really good. Obviously, everybody's excited. This looks good. Leaner operations, right? They're cutting budgets. They're going to do things a little bit cheaper. They're consolidating. They've got stronger streaming positioning with sports, right? And they're bringing in, they're going to lock down the guy that built the empire there on the streaming. And that gives them a much clearer identity, right? That they're like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. They have a sound strategy with films. They know where they're going with the streamer. They've integrated sports. That's all good. The bigger risk out of all of it is executing it all. Can they do it? Like Logan said at the top of the show, they're integrating tech into it. Remember, Skydance was heavily involved in tech because of Daddy. Don't forget, Daddy is also a billionaire and had a little tech company that facilitated all this.
Second richest man in the world.
Yeah. Oh, that guy. Yeah. And then of course keeping creative talent happy. It sounds good. They're saying we're gonna keep Tom happy. We're gonna keep Taylor happy. We're gonna bring in more. We're gonna do And here's the one that I'm most worried about, and we can dive deeper into this as we talk about it. But they seem to me like they're going to be relying very heavy on their existing intellectual property. Right? We're sticking with Tom Cruise. We're going to bring back the franchises, the Transformers, the G.I. Joe, we're going to lock down Taylor Sheridan, and we're going to keep the Taylor universe. What I didn't hear a lot of at all this week was bold, original content that they're willing to take risk on. That is where I'm nervous. That is where all of it sounded great. But that is where I'm nervous, because as Zaslav figured out really quick, I think long-term success, clearly this will work short-term, but long-term success has to be a mix of both, right? And Zaslav found that out at Warner Brothers, right? He put it all in the existing property and it didn't necessarily work. Then he had an original Sinners and, a couple of these original movies that thought nobody was going to do, but they took a chance on. Boom. Now 6 straight, openings at $40+ million. Boom, 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 boom. Some of those IP franchises, some of those original content. And that is my point. I think in order to be successful long term, that's what it's going to take. And it concerns me that we didn't hear that. My other concern, it's a great deal with UFC, TKO. But remember, TKO is not just UFC, it's also WWE, and that's on Netflix. That has a bigger audience than UFC, and my concern is, while this is an awesome deal, $7.7 billion, and it's certainly going to bring people in, UFC is a very niche fan base. So will they burn out of it really quick if they, especially now since they don't have to pay for it? Right? It's no more a pay-per-view. It's just going to be available for the price of the streamer, which is significantly less than the pay-per-view prices. So they can get it all the time. Will that keep the fascination of UFC up, or will they get bored of it really quick? Those were just a couple of thoughts off the top of my head where the risk comes in. Relying too heavily on your IP property and your franchises and hoping that you can keep a very niche fan base of sports long enough to build more sports into your program. What do you think?
Yeah, to address some of those things first before, going into other stuff that, I definitely want to speak on as well. TKO, with WWE. WWE only has Monday Night Raw on Netflix.
Right.
So they have NXT, which is like their up-and-coming superstars, who I think runs on Tuesday or Wednesday night on like a random broadcast service. And then you have Friday Night SmackDown as well. It'll be interesting to see what they do with those two properties, since Netflix, did just lock in. Like, of course, their biggest IP on WWE's platform,
Yeah.
but also at the same time, you still have these offshoots of WWE that are, up in the air of what to do with. So that's going to be very interesting. And yeah, you are right. I mean, that's very terrifying. I mean, we need original IP. We saw Warner Brothers come out last week, break down what they wanted to do with their budgets and how they wanted to release their films. And I like how they did that. I wish Paramount would have done a little bit of something similar. Like, okay, I wish Paramount has a lot of huge, big existing IP. So like I wish, like, we heard a lot of things about Top Gun 3. That is apparently a priority.
Yeah.
Star Trek
Yep.
relaunching that whole universe,
Which makes sense.
That is a highly underutilized universe where the fan bases are still there, even though I'm not one of them. I just know the fan bases are there. And then World War Z, which I thought was very interesting, but I think that's just another Brad Pitt thing because they saw how successful F1 did. But yeah, it is very freaking interesting because 15 to 20 movies per year, that's almost averaging out to at least 1 to 2 a month, which is crazy. That's a lot of money to be spending on movies that are going back to the well that may or may not be dead. So you're going to need some original IP at some point. And I think that's what the move they're trying to make with the Duffer Brothers. And that's why I wanted to bring up Miss Holland again, her coming from Netflix, who, if y'all remember, it was a couple years ago where she was kind of just nudged out. Like, Netflix was starting this whole new revolution of storytelling, and especially with the television side of things, they were trying to figure out what to do. So they kind of pushed her out and brought in, I believe her name is Bella Rosaria, and basically Paramount scooped up Miss Holland. And ever since then, I feel like she's really been trying to get back at Netflix by poaching some of the things that Netflix has going on. Because, I mean, Duffer Brothers, that would be huge. The only thing, though, the Duffer Brothers take their time with writing. So if you make this deal, I feel like you're going to have to put in the clause or something that, hey, you got to get this done within a certain period of time, because the way Netflix and the Duffer Brothers have released their Stranger Things franchise that has taken 8 years to finish, 5 seasons? That's insane.
Well, and I was going to say, it's going to be, if they do lock them down, it's going to be at least for a temporary period of time, a coexistence, because they still have 3 or 4 projects with Netflix still in the works that they're under contract to do. The animated Stranger Things project, and there's like 3 or 4 original things that they're still under Netflix to do. So if she is successful in luring them away and signing them to a new contract, they are obligated to finish up the Stranger Things, which, as you just said, seems to take them a really long time. So my guess is that for at least the 5 years, they're going to be between the 2 studios trying to figure it out, right? And then the other thing about her that she was very adamant about it, she has no interest in making movies for the streamer. That's where I feel like the other studios right now, they do take the chance on indies like us and independent creators or smaller creators and put those films on their streamers, the little hidden gems that you find that you've never heard of, but then you end up loving the movie. And she's made that clear. That ain't her game. So I feel like while you might be luring in and maybe appeasing and making happy the big names, you're going to lose a lot of street cred with the indies. Right? So you got to like balance that and say, is that a smart move? Do we completely avoid movies on Paramount Plus and only go for the TV universe? Or do we decide to maybe ease in some stuff? Maybe if you're not going to make original content movies for them, at least sign a deal with an A24 or one of the higher end indies and get those films in a deal to where they could be on Paramount Plus. Because I feel like if all you're going to do is show your Star Trek movies and your Top Gun movies and your Transformers movies, that's going to get old real fast. So I feel like you got to have something else, and A24 it seems like a no-brainer to me, right? Like, go for the premier independent studio right now and lock them down. Say, hey, we'll be the first look where you can see these movies after the theater on our streamer, right?
Yeah, completely agree. Like, I don't know, like either A24 or Neon, because
Yeah,
those are
yeah.
the two that are completely doing things so different than anyone else in the entertainment industry. So it's very freaking interesting. But the rumor mill, which would be crazy, and I don't see the DOJ letting this happen. Freaking, they're talking about Paramount wanting to possibly either buy TikTok or wanting to buy Warner Brothers, which would be absolutely crazy. How I don't think that would happen. I don't think Warner Brothers would happen because that would be, I think, a monopoly for sure. But I mean, it's in the rumor mill, which means it could possibly happen, or at least be attempted to happen. And we've been talking about, like, for the past 2 years how Zaslav has been just trying to freaking shed the layers of the freaking Warner Brothers properties, basically. So it'd be very interesting if something came out of it to where, okay, let me just take Warner Brothers Pictures, or let me just take Warner Brothers Gaming, or let me
Yeah,
just take,
yeah.
Warner Brothers TV. But that I don't know, man. That would be very interesting. And I think it's scary that that rumor is happening so fast after the merger literally just got approved and we started just announcing stuff about all these film and television projects over the past 2 weeks. Like, that conversation, that rumor should not be out there, just because, like, can we just focus on one legacy studio at a time
Well,
before we jump into bed doing other crazy things?
and you know why that rumor I think is just BS, and I find no legitimacy in that rumor, because if that were the case, that deal would have been done behind closed doors when Zaslav said he was interested in possibly selling off Warner Brothers. That
Yeah.
is not happening now. He's splitting Warner Brothers, and he is staying in control of, he got rid of Discovery. He's putting that somewhere else. He's taking Warner Brothers Pictures. Remember, his side of the split company is Warner Brothers, and it includes Warner Brothers Pictures and DC Studios and Warner Brothers Television, and like all of the property that he said at one point he wanted to get rid of, now he's in control of, and is like, I'm going to put out this many films, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do. So he has clearly reversed course on his decision. He figured out a way to get rid of Discovery's debt by spinning it off into another company and not having to worry about it, while he keeps Warner Brothers. So that's why I think there's no legitimacy in it. Now, the TikTok one, I can totally see. This makes sense with the tech background that Ellison comes from and the entertainment background that the younger Ellison comes from. This would seem like, we know that they're buddies with the Trumpster, and the Trumpster has long said he wants that deal done. He wants TikTok to be an American company so we can get rid of the Japanese influence on it. And, so if his buddies buy it, I mean, that just seems like a no-brainer to me. So that rumor, I see more credibility in than the buying up the Warner Brothers one. I don't think that one's going to happen. I think Zaslav's going to give Warner Brothers a run and see if he can make something out of it before he decides to do anything else. So, but you're right. It shouldn't even be a conversation. This deal just closed. Let's see how you perform before we talk about anything else, right? Like, that's just, like, what are we doing? The good thing, though, that I really like, that I really, really like, the 20 films a year. I know that sounds really aggressive, and people are like, what the hell? But did you guys know that back in the day, under old Adolf Zucker, they did 52 films a year, one every week.
Damn.
I shit you not. And it was because they wanted to control the theaters. They were like, well, we want our films in the theater all the time. And the way to do that is to have a film every week available for them to buy in their theater. And they were producing at one point 52 films a week in the early days of Paramount. I mean, a year at Paramount. So 20, I mean, no problem. I don't know. It's a different game, obviously, than it was back in 1920s. But you get the idea of, he's a history of the studio, right? He's a historian of the studio. He knows where they came from. He knows what they're all about. And I say that because what I was teasing in our live Instagram yesterday is this. So the stars over the mountain on the Paramount logo represented the 22 original stars that Paramount had locked under contract. If you guys aren't familiar, Paramount was the one that first used the term movie star. And Zucker started the star system, where you would lock down stars under contract exclusively for your studio and make them only star in your pictures. Well, it's clear that this is, I don't think we're ever going to see the star system again, where you lock down, A-listers to your studio under contract. But he's clearly made a point in this announcement this week that he's going to go after A-list talent and want Paramount to be their exclusive home. He can't do it under contract anymore because, like I said, the star system doesn't exist, but he can do first look deals, and he can do these things that are legal now to lock down these big name stars. So he's clearly on a path of restoring Paramount to the golden age of Hollywood's glory, where they were the dominant studio. So, I like that. I like that he's going to be aggressive that way. The downside is, and we've talked about it, and can they keep the politics out of it? Because whether we like it or not, even if they weren't friends with Trumpster and that side of it or whatever, guys, the entertainment industry is built on authenticity and real life, and it crosses pop culture and politics all the time. You can't avoid politics if you're in the entertainment industry. It's just part of it. So, it's going to intertwine at some point anyway, but because they are friends with the current administration, will that intertwining be more than intertwining and actually get messy? That's another risk.
Yeah, because you already have Dana White out there talking about freaking TKO and UFC hosting events at the White House. Like,
they're doing it. Did you see that? It's already they've already locked down the space. Crazy. It's like what?
I don't even know, man. Like, it's so weird. Like, and imagine the amount of security that they would have to have there. Like, it's one thing the president heading into Vegas and watching a UFC event. Like, that security, I'm sure, is already insane because he's in the crowd watching, like, the fights not every time, but every time he goes, he's in the crowd watching the fights. But if you're at the White House, the freaking nation's capital, where the citizens, like, oh my God, that's just so crazy. And especially with everything that's happening in DC right now with the police force and like, it's so wild, man. I don't understand.
For that, you would have to think that the audience would have to be behind the gates. You can't put them on the lawn. How are you going to screen that properly? I don't care how great the Secret Service is or is not. How can you properly screen that, right? There's just, so I feel like they would have to be outside of the gates. The bleachers would have to be, the other thing is, I'm sure it would be publicized, right? It'll end up on a stream or everywhere, right? What kind of optics are we sending? There's a sporting event on the White House lawn. You guys know that if the president is at the White House, it is mandatory. The snipers are on the roof. So we're going to be displaying a sporting event, an octagon on the White House lawn with snipers in sight. Just the whole optics of that just is like absurd to me. But, and did the UFC make that deal? Did TKO make that deal because of the relationship with Trump? They're all really tight. Right? We know that. He's tight. TKO, that there's been no secret. He was at the freaking inauguration. He was like, so, and then the Ellisons are tight. So that whole little, I don't know, man, that seems just awful chummy to me. That's awfully chummy to me. So I don't know. It's going to be, it's interesting, man. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I think you're right, though. David, I feel like, has done a pretty decent job at not like playing that card, and everybody knows they're chummy, but he hasn't been like super outwardly, go Trump wearing MAGA hats, thing like that.
Well, to be fair, it's more daddy that's really tight with Trump than David is, right? Yeah, obviously.
But we know where all that money came from. So that's the freaking thing. It is a very interesting time, though. I am very excited to see what's going to happen with Paramount and Paramount Plus, because of course, you have to lock down Taylor Sheridan, because if you guys remember a couple years ago, freaking when everything was going down with Taylor and Kevin Costner going back and forth, like, will they, won't they? He doesn't want to act on the show anymore, blah, blah, blah. Like, he was very upset that Paramount didn't come to his defense more against Kevin Costner. So, I mean, that I think is a proof stamp right there with the building of the studio and trying to make sure Taylor is happy that they just want to give him everything, and like hopefully he continues to put out hit after hit. But I'm worried though that Taylor Sheridan is going, I don't, I'm scared to even say it, but I'm worried that Taylor Sheridan will turn into a novelty item where he's just this hot commodity now and then eventually be burned out and can't write anything good. And Paramount would be investing all of this money and time into him now and then be bankable or be a failure later. That's
I
my
mean
opinion.
it's an interesting point. Like nobody stays on top forever. They say he's a genius who with a proven track record and no misses yet, but nobody stays on top forever in this industry. So he will inevitably fall. What I also like though is Paramount's probably doing this deal for the studio to get out of having to keep paying the guy. Remember, Taylor Sheridan is really smart. After the success of Yellowstone, when it was starting to roll like into the second season, this guy's like, I'm going to start shooting all of it at my property and then charge them to lease the property as a location. So he shifted all of that. The only thing he didn't shoot on property that he owned was the house. But all of the ranch and all this all became his property. And the property that they were shooting on that he didn't own, he bought like the boss and then started charging them for location. So how do you get out of having to pay him location fees to shoot his shows on his property? Build a studio that he's part owner of so that you don't have to do that anymore. You have to admit it's a smart and savvy business move on both sides of that. That's a win-win. And if it legitimately can hold what they said, 4 large-scale productions at one time, that means this thing must be spread out like massively. These 450,000, because when you think about how much space a large-scale production takes up on a studio lot, and they're saying they can do 4 of them at one time, but I'm betting that, because they said Linus and Landman and all that, that will take up maybe 1.5 of that, right? Like 4 large-scale productions. You take those 4 major television series, that's going to take at least, that's the equivalent of, right, like 1.5 to 2 major film productions. You take all 4 of those productions, because anybody who watches any of Taylor Sheridan's stuff knows, I mean, they don't skimp. These are large, high-scale productions for television. So then that kind of leaves you, okay, so now we've got 2 large-scale productions we can bring in if we continue to shoot all 4 of our series in one place, right? So that'll be interesting for sure. I like it, though. I have long said that I feel like for the last decade, maybe longer, that we are headed back to, and I don't mean regressing backwards. I mean moving forward but coming full circle to the golden age of Hollywood. A consolidation of the studios, a return to glory of the original majors, locking in big stars for long-term contracts at these 5 majors. I feel like we've long been headed there, and this just seems to be like Ellison's goal. I want Paramount back to Paramount from the golden age, and let's do it. And he's aggressive in the manner in which he's approaching it, and I love it. I'm all in on that, all in on that.
Completely agree. Well, I mean, final thoughts. I'm excited. I hope nothing burns out. I hope everything is as good as it seems and it doesn't like crash and burn. But the first week and a half, 2 weeks have been amazing. And like I said, I'm excited to see what happens. And hopefully we get some good movies and some good TV shows out of this.
I think we will. I'm right there with you. That's my final wrap up as well. I'm really excited. I think that they've got a smart plan. If they can execute, because not all smart plans get executed, but if they can execute the plan, I think it's going to be really healthy for a really long time, and we're going to see a nice resurgence of Paramount. And the mouse and the bunny better look out, because they're not playing. You know, you guys have been ruling that mountaintop for a long time, bouncing back and forth between the two of y'all, but there's a third player back in the game now, and you better watch out. That's all I'm saying. Better watch out.
That's right, man. That's right. Well, we're heading over to the top 5 segment this week, where, man, oh man, we're going to be talking about top 5 films that got us excited. And we're going to be telling you the reasons why, whether that be future franchises, whether that be the future of cinema in general, theater-going experiences, all these different things. This was a fun list to come up with because I went back and tried to, like, think about all the different films and about the different experiences that I had either in theaters or with at home, having conversations with Emily about the film. So yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. So what do you think was the approach to this top 5? I mean, it was very interesting because like I picked mine in different reasons and for different ways. So like I'm curious to hear your approach about picking your list.
So I went about like first when you first said the topic, I was like, what excitement about what? I was like, but then I put together my list and I picked films that I got really excited about, the return of something, hopeful that something hasn't vanished, where we're headed. Those are the type films that I picked. Like I was, as a filmmaker, worried that we were losing certain genres or certain styles of genres, or that, you know, not just losing, but maybe already dead. And then these films excited me like, oh, no, we're still there. We still can do this. And they can still be successful and we can do that. So that's kind of how I approached it. I really took and picked films that fired me up about, yeah, I was wrong. Look at this. You know, kind of like that's how I went with it.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of along the same boat. But my number 5 goes to a recent one, and I'm talking about Superman. The recent Superman. David Cornsweet, James Gunn milking it for all he can. Man, oh man, with all these freaking promotional videos. I love it, though, because I think it keeps reminding people why they got excited about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the behind-the-scenes stuff has been amazing. But Superman really got me excited because I had kind of swore off the DC universe, right? I liked the television shows. I liked Titans. I watched Green Arrow, but I didn't watch any of the other Arrowverse stuff. And I know it was all completely separate from everything else. And I love the Batman with Robert Pattinson. But I mean, the Snyderverse just wasn't it for me, and everything they built around it, like with Black Adam. And I mean, the first Shazam was all right. I've heard the second one was awful, but I mean, like I said, there was just so many misses to where I just wasn't excited anymore. And I never was a Superman fan before going into this movie, but this movie gave me hope. It gave me justice. It gave me the American way, and it made me realize, and obviously I already did, but it made me reinforce my realization that if my feelings are hurt, I should be able to say why. Yes, because I'm human. But yeah, I mean, Superman, it did a lot for me, and it made me actually fall in love with the character. David Cornsweet did amazing. James Gunn did amazing. So yeah, I'm super excited about the future of the DC universe because of Superman. My number 5.
Yeah, it's on my list as well, so I will dive into my thoughts on it when we get there. My number 5, also a superhero movie. And it's funny, it's not on my list because of anything to do with superheroes. Wait, what? Like, my number 5 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And the reason this one got me so freaking excited as a filmmaker, as a creator, as a storyteller, is because I have long, like I'm a true cinephile, guys. I am a historian of the industry, of where it came from, of where it started. And, you know, no secret for us that Disney's one of our favorite studios, has always been one of our favorite. That studio was literally built on animation. And I felt like after the success of Pixar, everybody shifted. Everybody was like, we've got to make it look like Pixar. We've got to have this 3D full animation. Like, we lost the art of, in my opinion, 2D animation. it became all about, if it doesn't look like Pixar, we ain't making it. We all had to come up with our own design that wasn't Pixar, but would sell like Pixar, kind of a thing. So when Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse hit, I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and as awesome and epic as the story is, and I'm loving every aspect of the story and the multiverse and all the things that they're doing, but it was the breathtaking animation, the way they merged old school 2D with new computer generated graphics, and then new styles of animation that you hadn't seen before blended so seamlessly into this story, and that got me fired up. That's like, animation is not dead. It isn't all Pixar look, it isn't we can still do 2D. We can do, all these, and the bright, vivid, bold colors and the use of that animation and interweaving to tell a story just got me fired up, man. And I'm like, yeah. And now we're seeing it. We're seeing it a little bit at the box office, where they're transitioning back to 2D animation, where it's not all Pixar-esque looking, and we're seeing some success with those animated movies now. So, yeah, it got me really pumped. And yeah, my number 5, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, nothing to do with Spider-Man, all to do with animation.
I love that, yeah. And the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that came out a couple years ago kind of did along the same lines, but also did put their little twist on it. That's what happens. Everybody like follows and copies because they respect it and they enjoy it.
That's right.
That's the entertainment industry, and that's okay. My number 4 goes to The Wild Robot. Family films, family animated films, like, kids films, there for a while, like, Pixar was missing so much. DreamWorks wasn't really coming out with anything that was new and original. I mean, they came out with Puss in Boots 2 that was very successful, but of course that's a spinoff of the Shrek franchise.
That's
so,
right.
like, a lot of family-friendly kids films just were not hitting. I don't know if that was just because I was an adult and wasn't feeling that anymore. I mean, Disney, of course, with Inside Out 2, that's an exception, but like, we always expect Disney to do well in that space because that's their space. They own that space. But when Wild Robot came out, my number 4, I thought it was completely different, amazing storytelling, a great relationship just about parenting. And even if you're not blood related or even of the same species, you can still love this other individual, this other thing, to where you can either grow into a parent or grow into a parental figure, or have that experience with somebody who is like a leadership figure or an inspiration to you in your everyday life. And I think that's what Wild Robot did for me. And it was a snub at the Academy Awards, I must say. So just putting that out there, it should have freaking won, because it won everything else, all the other award shows, but not the Oscars. Tell me how that freaking makes any sense. Flo doesn't even have any words. But whatever. It's fine. Anyway, rant over. But I loved Wild Robot, and it made me cry. So yeah, that's why it's my number 4. And it made me excited about the future of animated storytelling, especially for kids. So yeah, my number 4, Wild Robot.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an example of, like, exactly what I was saying with my number 5. It wasn't all Pixar 3D looking full, like, it, it was a nice little kind of just old school animation. And yeah, it's a great film. Great film. My number 4, and the reason this one, it's recent. I literally just saw it this week, and it got me so freaking pumped and so freaking excited. And the reason being is because there is still filmmakers out there. There are still storytellers out there that no, you do not, because I felt like we fell into this trap for so long. And this movie really just fired me up to say, no, we haven't. No, we're good. And that is filmmakers that don't dumb shit down for the audience. Yeah. This film had you thinking the whole time, like, what the hell am I watching? And you think you have it figured out, and then you didn't. It was another little twist here, another little twist there. But he never tells you what to think. In fact, he makes it even more confusing by telling it to you from 4 or 5 different vantage points, that once you think you got it figured out, well, wait a minute, let me show you this guy's point of view of what happened. And then you're like, well, wait, Shit. Okay. And so I got really excited with Weapons. It was original. It's great storytelling. And the main reason why it fired me up is because it does not dumb it down. I was getting so tired of, over the last several years, filmmakers feeling like they had to make it literally, you might as well have just put the script on the bottom of the screen to tell the audience what you wanted them to see. And that was driving me nuts. And so to finally see films, and Weapons being one of them, that says, no, I wrote this twisted, crazy, weird shit, and you figure it out. And I love that, man. So my number 4, Weapons.
It kept the audiences guessing.
Oh,
too,
without doubt.
Right?
Without
I
doubt.
think that was a big part of Weapons, and I see why everybody's been talking about it. I
Yeah.
agree. Definitely one of the best films of the year.
For sure.
And I love the amount of money it made at the box office, because we'll be talking about that too.
Yep.
Man, oh man. My number 3 goes to one that came out, I can't remember if it was pre-pandemic, little in the pandemic. I think it was tiny bit pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Honey Boy. And of course, we've talked about this extensively on the show. We love this because it's a redemption arc, basically, of the character that it was about. And we're talking about Shia LaBeouf's life story, basically, or at least this pocket moment of his life where he spent the summer with his dad, where his dad had to take him on auditions. And, and it's a touching and interesting and manipulative and wild story where even if a parental figure has their own problems, even if they have addiction issues, even if they have mental health issues, even if there's good times, if there's bad, you're always going to love your parental figure. No matter what you go through, you're always going to love that person for at least giving you life. And I feel like that's what Shia LaBeouf expressed in this film about this relationship with his father. And of course, it really hit home a lot with me, so I loved that aspect of it. But it got me excited because I felt like this is raw emotional storytelling from another childhood star, childhood actor that we talked about childhood actors last week on our top 5. But he is one that transitioned as an adult actor pretty decently. I mean, he came into, obviously, the Transformer franchise that was massively successful. And then, of course, he's been messing around doing his own scripts, doing other scripts. I mean, he just did Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis.
Yep.
And like a whole bunch of different things. He's an actor that at points is pushed to the side by the industry, but he doesn't give up, even though he might be a little crazy. But hey, who isn't? And he admits his flaws. He accepts who he is, and he continues to build himself up as a person and continues to try to get better as a human being and as a performer. And honestly, I'm rooting for him because he shows he's human. He shows that all he can do is be himself. And he shows this in this movie, and it started from such a young age. So yeah, my number 3, Honey Boy, because Shia LaBeouf is an underdog, and we're pulling for you, buddy.
There you go. Oh, I love everything about that. Yeah. I love that kid from the first time I saw him in the Battle of Shaker Heights. I never watched him on Even Stevens or any of the Disney Plus stuff. I didn't even know who he was. But Project Greenlight with Matt and
Holes,
Ben.
man.
And,
I love Holes.
And Battle of Shaker Heights, man. I saw that and the behind the scenes with him and his mom in the making of that movie. I was just like, whoa. This kid's deep, and he's talented, but he's messed up, and you could see it briefly in that. But yeah, just so good, so good. Good point. My number 3 is a slash. It's Oppenheimer / Sinners. Both of these movies got me fired up for the same reason, and I'm talking like really excited because I've always been a story first guy. I need story. I need dialogue. And we had lost that for a really long time. It was all special effects, blow shit up, big, boom, and I felt like we had lost story. And then here comes Oppenheimer and Sinners. And these are 2 huge films that are story and dialogue driven from start to finish. And while there's a few effects in it here or there, and there's a few effects in it here or there, it's all story driven and it's all dialogue. There are scenes where it's just conversation. You're hearing about backstory. You're hearing about these what's going on in these characters' lives. You're hearing about and these filmmakers, right? Ryan Coogler and Christopher Nolan. They give me hope that filmmaking is still alive. Legit old school storytelling. And you know why I really like these two films? Because they're films. They were both shot on film. And this, I'm sorry, but I hope it never dies. I hope it's getting scary because Kodak's about to go out of business and they're the last company left that actually provides film. So I don't know how that's going to work. If they go away, who's going to actually make film to give them to shoot on film? This terrifies me.
IMAX cameras, man. IMAX makes specific cameras.
So it's going to all have to go that range because Kodak is literally, I just saw that news break today. They don't think they're going to survive this latest wave of bankruptcy. So, wow, talking about an end of an era. But I like filmmakers and storytellers that still take risk, still shoot on film. You can't just delete it. You can't just start over. It's film. That's money in the gate. And that's like, to take that risk and practical effects. You're talking about a vampire movie, but it was almost all practical effect and makeup. There wasn't a lot of over-the-top CGI shit. And neither with Oppenheimer. That fucking bomb was a real bomb they fucking blew up and shit. Like, what? Like, I just love filmmakers that are filmmakers and storytellers. And that's why those two movies, my number 3, Oppenheimer and Sinners. And God bless, we are still out here and we are still alive. Like, yeah.
Oh, I love that. And yeah, freaking Oppenheimer, they built that whole little town out in the desert.
Yeah. That's just unreal.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. My number 2 goes to Air. This is like a little teeny tiny bit out of the pandemic where, the only thing keeping theaters alive were big, massive blockbusters. Well, here come Ben Affleck and Matt Damon with their company, Artist Equity. And they're like, hey, we've got this idea. Let's talk about how we signed freaking Michael Jordan to Nike. What? What a weird idea, right? It was a beautiful period piece, though, that didn't even show the face of the actor that was playing Michael Jordan. Nope. I love that they did this. And they gathered these amazing creative individuals, Chris Tucker, Jason Bateman, Matt Damon, of course, freaking Ben Affleck, directing and acting in this thing. And it blew me away. It was a period piece that had everybody along for the ride. I know Gen X, y'all were like jamming because of that.
Fuck yeah, 80s soundtrack, baby.
It was so good. It gave me hope that stories, even after a worldwide pandemic like this, will be available at the box office. Did it do well at the box office? No, but it found a lot of money on Amazon Prime. So it was still a major success, especially for the company, and it gave me hope as a filmmaker that these stories are still willing to be put in the major theaters and box office. So that was fun. Number 2 for me, Air.
Yes. And look, I'm just gonna say it. I've long said that I thought Ben Affleck is a better director than actor, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because of all the things you just said. Ben Affleck is a Ryan Coogler, is a Christopher Nolan, is a Scorsese, is a Coppola. He's a filmmaker. You don't even see basketball played in that movie. like that is a complete, from start to finish, dialogue-driven story being told. It's all talking. It's all back and forth. You don't even see basketball in it. You don't, like you said, you didn't even see Michael Jordan or the guy playing Michael Jordan's face. But at no point ever do we even see basketball. But it's all about basketball. And so that is just pure story-driven, dialogue-driven, no big special effects, no crazy stuff. He's a true filmmaker, and you gotta love that. So I'm glad that you put that on the list. My number 2,
I would say like 60% of the movie is in that office building.
Yeah,
they just rented out that office building and just used it.
Which says a lot to his talent, because when you can take minimal actors in one location, and not have people lose attention, You're telling a great story, and he does that. He's a brilliant director, in my opinion. I really do think so. My number 2, I'm taking it back to yours. My number 2, which also got me fired up, Superman. And there's a simple explanation for me about why this one fires me up. It is the return of comic book in comic book movies. We got away from that. I think that's where we saw the fatigue, if you will. I don't ever buy into the fatigue, but the trouble with superhero movies over the last 7-8 years, and why there was success in the TV side with Daredevil, the Netflix series, right? Like the Netflix Marvel shows, or Arrow, or any of those. And you know why those worked? Because they were comic book things. And I feel like that's where the movies faltered a little bit, which made no sense to me, because that's where Marvel came out so strong. You watch that first Iron Man film, that's straight up comic book. That is like Iron Man right out of the comic book onto the screen. And they started to lose that. But Superman, this Superman, it's back. In fact, David Cornsweet said, no, put the fucking trunks on me. I want to wear the trunks on the outside. I want it to be a little comic booky. I want it to be a little campy, even though it's a serious film. And the bright colors, you've referenced this numerous times with Fantastic Four and these things. The colors, comic books are colorful. They're like in your, and I think that's what we were desperately missing. And this movie brings it back hardcore, slams it right back to and you've seen the influence. Look at the new Spider-Man. That is the most comic book accurate costume. The colors, the clanky web shooter, everything about that film. If you look at the new costume of Punisher in that film, we're going back to Savage Hulk in that film. I think it's all because James Gunn brought Superman, and Kevin Feige was in communication with Gunn the whole time about when he was making this film. They knew where Gunn was taking it, and they'd seen Peacemaker and all that, and I think Marvel learned from that. Remember, Gunn learned from Marvel, and now Marvel was learning from Gunn. We've got to bring the comic book back to comic book movies, and Superman did that. So that's why it's number 2 on my list. Thank you. That's why Superman, the original, was so successful. It was a comic book movie. He looked like a comic book. That's what we've been missing. Now we've got it back. So let's keep plowing forward with that and just keep going.
Yes, completely agree. Well, now time for our number 1. And yes, I said our because it's the same freaking one. We are talking about Top Gun Maverick. I was worried. I thought we were never going back to the movie theaters again. Okay, well, this was a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. Okay, I thought we might have all died. But here we are, alive and well, no longer wearing masks, no longer wearing gloves, no longer afraid to be closer than 6 feet. And Top Gun Maverick, oh my gosh, guys. Like, it got me so super excited to go back to the theater. We were, every time the theater was open during the pandemic, we were fucking going. We weren't scared. Nothing was going to stop us from going to the theater. But like,
we sat 18 seats apart with masks on. We didn't care. It was like, let's go.
Exactly. But fucking Top Gun Maverick gave me hope and got me excited that people will still go to the movies. And still, we were talking about Paramount in the industry news, still Paramount's highest grossing film ever, which makes sense why the third one is a priority. But, I mean, it's better than the first one. I think that. I mean, we might even watch it tonight for our rewind night. But, like, it's such a great movie. It's got something for everyone. And yeah, there's not enough good things I can say about Top Gun Maverick. It's truly a 5 out of 5 film.
I would agree wholeheartedly. And look, anybody who's long been a fan of our show, anybody who's known me for any while, I have a lot of mixed thoughts on Tom Cruise. Okay. Yeah, right. But the one thing I admire, respect, and love about Tom Cruise is he is adamant about movies are meant to be
Movies.
seen in theaters.
Yes.
They are films, and they are meant to be seen big, with people, with crowds, and he has always been that way. I make movies for the screen, or I don't make movies. And that was exactly what he told Paramount. I will not make Top Gun Maverick unless we distribute it in theaters. My goal is to bring people back to theaters with this film, or I don't make it. And Paramount took the risk. They were like, okay, we're going to spend a shit ton of money on this movie and hope to God people show up. And they did. I would say that Top Gun Maverick is this generation's Jaws. It was the return of the blockbuster on screen. That's what it was. It showed that these type movies, these blockbuster tentpole type movies, can still draw a crowd, can still please people at the theater, can still fill seats, and it did it in every way possible. And it was the huge return of films in theater the way they're meant to be seen. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a no-brainer that this one fired us up, because it was like, theaters are not dead. Movies are not dead. This is, as a filmmaker, this is what you want. Don't get me wrong. I'll put anything on a streamer too, because I just want people to see it. But as a filmmaker, your ultimate goal is, it's the dream to see your shit up on the big screen. That's the whole goal of being a filmmaker. So the idea that there are still people out there that's what drives them, and that there are studios out there still willing to take that risk and make a movie like Top Gun Maverick. Yeah. How can you not get fired up for that?
Yeah, exactly. It's so good. I don't know if you've seen. I found this new interviewer that does press day stuff, and he's a younger guy, younger than me even, and he's been showing people his movie journal, and he showed Tom Cruise his movie journal, and
I saw that.
I
Yeah.
swear to you, Tom Cruise loved this kid more than his own children.
Yeah.
Like, he was so appreciative. He literally said he was honored. This is Tom Cruise saying this to this kid about a movie journal, about like the first time the kid saw Mission Impossible,
Right,
or
right.
something like that. But I'm like, it is crazy. Like, Tom Cruise is crazy.
Yeah,
Don't get
yeah.
me
No,
wrong.
yeah.
Like, he makes great movies though. But like, the love and passion and drive and determination that he has for movies is what I want to have for movies. So like, that's the only reason why I love Tom Cruise, is because his passion and determination for movies. So I love seeing that. I love seeing him talk about movies, because that's the only thing he talks about, really, because he's not controversial. He doesn't talk about anything else. Like, I guess he was even invited to this freaking Trump thing at the Kennedy Center honorees or whatever, and he said he had scheduling conflicts because he doesn't want any bad press. All he wants people to talk about with him is movies. And I mean, he's doing it. I feel like he's doing a good job at it. Crazy motherfucker.
And he's consistent. Remember, a lot of people don't realize he started extremely young. You go all the way back to Outsiders. And I mean, this was a young kid, basically. And from day one, you watch interviews from him way back in the day, it's all about his love for film. Yes. He does this because he loves it. There's a reason why this man is almost, he's mid-60s now, right? And he's still doing his own stunts because he loves it. He wants it to be real. He wants it to be authentic for the audience. When you risk your life at that age because you want the audience to buy it, that is passion. And you gotta, think whatever you want about the guy personally, but when it comes from an industry standpoint, this guy loves film, and there's no arguing it. There's just no, Tom Cruise is film.
Yeah.
Period.
He is, man.
Yeah.
He is, and I gotta respect him for that. Well, we want to know, what is your favorite film that got you excited? Please be sure to leave it down in the comment section below. At us on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, all the good places. Please, please, please. We love the fan interaction. It's always super fun to talk about movies with you.
Yes.
That's what we love to do. But now heading over to the box office recap, where, of course, Weapons came in at number 1 last week, overperforming because they predicted it coming in about 30 million.
Yep.
Well, it came in at number one with about 42 million. So way overperformed. An amazing, amazing thriller. Number two was Freakier Friday, which did what expected to happen. They brought in 29 million, which honestly is awesome for that movie. Like, I really wasn't expecting that. I was expecting high teens, low 20 million. So good for them. Number three was Fantastic Four with $16 million. Number four was Bad Guys 2 with $10 million. Number five was The Naked Gun with $8.4 million. I'm honestly surprised that many people still went to go see Naked Gun.
Right.
So funny, so funny. But new movies coming out this weekend. Nobody 2, Bob Odenkirk.
Yes.
I haven't seen the first one, but I heard it was actually really good. It's a sleeper.
Yeah, that's the same thing. And I keep seeing the trailer every time I go see these other movies for Nobody 2, and I'm like, I've got to watch the first one because
I know.
I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about the first one. So I guess it's up on a streamer now for sure. So I think I am going to check that out and then go see Nobody 2. So if I'm not mistaken, isn't that the one where he had the heart attack? They had to shut down protection a little bit because he had the heart. I think it was. Yeah. So even more intrigue into it, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Sketch is also coming out this weekend.
Another weird
Americana. I think I want to check that one out. This is the one with Sydney Sweeney and Halsey.
Yeah.
Of course, Paul Walter Hauser. That's those three names. I don't know if they're in the right order, but he is also in it. It looks interesting. I'm a big Sydney Sweeney fan, and she's taken some interesting steps with her career, and I also love how she just completely stayed silent after all that American Eagle bullshit.
It's just total garbage, man.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
And that was the smartest move. That was the smart. Just don't even address it. Don't even talk about it. Just let that go. Stupid. Let stupid people be stupid people, and you just keep doing what you do. That's like whoever her people are. If it was her or her people advising her, spot on.
Well, and I mean, August is a big month for her because next weekend she's got a thriller or horror movie coming out. So I mean, 2 weekends back to back. Cooley is also coming out this weekend in select theaters, and The Knife in also select theaters. Movies you can still go see, of course, Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, F1 Together. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I saw Smurfs was playing some places. I saw How to Train Your Dragon was still playing some places.
Yep.
Hell, I even saw Lilo and Stitch was still playing one showtime at my local theater, which is freaking crazy.
Yeah. That's why we have to go back and check our draft, because some of these things are still lingering. They might only be putting in a $10,000 or here or there, but it's adding up. So,
exactly. Then heading over to IMDb Pro's Top Trending segment, where the top trending movie, of course, was Weapons.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about that thing. Top trending TV show is Wednesday. I believe it came back on Netflix for season 2.
Yep.
So there that is. And then Kelly Mack is the top trending star.
For always the wrong reasons. Sometimes it's the wrong, and that's the young actress that passed away, like real young. Like, she was on Walking Dead and stuff, but I think she was like early 30s, maybe. Just always tragic.
So sad, man. So sad. Well, we have to thank you one more time for listening to this episode and get crazy with us on episode 305 of ITCAF Podcast. It's crazy. We're already 5 episodes into our 300th.
Right?
That's
like, what?
Wild. What 300th was just like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I mean, it felt so close. That's so wild. But anyway, yes, thank you for listening and watching. Be sure to follow the company and podcast on social media. You can follow the company at Crazy Ant Media. You can follow this podcast at ITCAFpodcast, and you can follow our other podcast, our mental health one, Everything's OKP, on Instagram and X and Threads. So be sure to also follow us both personally on social media, myself at JLoganAustin and
at Crazy Ant CEO.
That's right, man. That's right. And you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're at Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. If you're watching this video on YouTube, thank you. I appreciate it. We take time and effort to set dress to pick out our clothes to look pretty for all of you. So be sure to like that video down below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for all the latest and greatest notifications coming out of Crazy Ant Media. And then, of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, for anything and everything happening here at Crazy Ant Media. Man, what a great episode. You know, we had a lot of industry news to talk about, but then Paramount had so much happening that we just had to dedicate an entire show about them making such an impression on the entertainment industry. We will, of course, be putting out different videos about different things that happen in the entertainment industry over the weekend and into the upcoming week, so you guys can know our thoughts and opinions, of course. But man, oh man, I'm super excited about Paramount. I'm super excited about the entertainment industry. And I'm super excited about the fall time movie slate, because these smaller budgeted, smaller marketed films are coming out. And they're actually really damn good. At least we saw that with Weapons, like I said on my social media. I didn't see anything about this film until a couple weeks ago. And then it came out and it was phenomenal. So I'm hoping to see more of that leading into this holiday season.
Yeah, when you see a film overperform like that and it didn't have a huge marketing budget, like that's a good sign.
Yeah.
You know, I too did not. I didn't even see a trailer for this one in front of other movies. Like typically you see,
I think I saw one, and I don't even remember which one it was.
Yeah,
like, I don't remember what movie I went and saw where I saw the trailer, but yeah, I only saw one.
Yeah, I never saw a trailer for it, so like good for them. I mean, you know, that they went with it. Like and it's funny because they had far more success than Together did, and they were out everywhere marketing the hell out of that movie. Mm-hmm. And yet similar in nature about how they're both kind of like religious cult, you know, weird, you know, voodoo shit kind of stuff. But one was massively successful and one wasn't. And one marketed the shit out of it and one didn't. And you would think the one marketing the shit out of it would have been the one that was successful, but it was not. So there you go, right? This is our industry. This is our industry. That's why it's so fun every damn day.
Yes, and shout out to Austin Abrams, who honestly stole the movie for me. Like, so freaking funny.
Dude.
It really, the film made you root for a fucking heroin addict crackhead. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah, this guy, because he was the hero. He was clearly just a good guy in a shitty situation, just down on his luck. Life had handed him some shit, and he was just trying to get through it. You know, and you gotta love this guy, man. He's like, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. I didn't see that. Oh shit! They're like, what the fuck? It's like, man, what a great character, so well written. Go see that movie, y'all. If you guys want to have a fun one this weekend, go see Weapons, man.
Yes, please be sure to do so. Please be sure to do so. And as always, for 305 episodes, we love the one, the only, Oprah!